Kia ora koutou and welcome to the Greater Wellington Business Growth and Support Virtual Conference. My name's Angela Caves and I'm the Digital Events Manager with Digital Boost. Welcome along to our last session for today. We've had a wonderful day, day one of the conference. We've been joined by our collaborating partners from Connected, who did a presentation for us earlier. Then we have heard from some networking groups, economic development agencies, Amotai, who are supporting Māori and Pacifica business. And so it's been a wonderful afternoon. We are shortly going to be hearing from the team at Pacific Business Trust. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon. Just a couple of quick housekeeping. You can see and hear us, our audience, but we cannot see nor hear you. So if you do want to interact with us, please feel free to use the Q&A functions that we've got available in the webinar or the chat as well. We've got the Connected team here, Talay and Janine, who will be managing our chat and trying to respond or asking questions of the Pacific Business Trust team towards the end of the webinar. Right, it is my pleasure to hand over to Chris and Tom. I'll let you guys share screens and we'll get straight into our final session of the day. Thanks, team.
Awesome. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.
Awesome, team. Cool. First things first, thank you for the intro, Angela. Thank you to you and your team for inviting us here so that one, we can speak about Pacific Business Trust and our programs and services, and also how that can help our clientele and the wider clientele down there in the Wellington region. Cool. So I am Christian Tukutama. I'm a business advisor for Pacific Business Trust, and I've been with the company for the better part of over half a year now. I'm joined by my colleague Tom Va'afusuanga, who is our procurement manager as well. And we'll be going over one, what Pacific Business Trust is all about, the offerings and services that you can obtain from Pacific Business Trust by being a part of the program and registered with us, and also sort of the deeper elements in regards to sort of procurement, construction and the trades that we have to offer as well, which will be presented by Tom a little later. So for this afternoon session, there'll be a quick overview of what we're about. We'll look into sort of our program and services that we sort of implement and that we provide for our clientele, and then we'll look into procurement services later on. So here's a quick picture of the team there, handsome young fella there on your right-hand side, if you see. Awesome, and we're straight into it, team. So Pacific Business Trust, what are we? Or, for ease of pronouncing it throughout the afternoon, I'll just be saying PBT quite often. So we were established in 1985, so we've been going strong for the last 37 years. Ideally, it was developed to advise, inform, support, and educate Pacific businesses and support their growth throughout New Zealand. Today, PBT is the Pacific Economic Development Agency of New Zealand. So we're sort of leading the forefronts in that development space. Okay, we're based in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, where our offices are established. But of course, you're also able to get a hold of us digitally, for right across the country as a whole. Our focus is on growing innovation and sourcing and supporting talent, and developing leadership through responsive business programs, which I'll get into a little later, and obviously through the provision of business grants. Our main function and main purpose is to be a navigator and leader in supporting Pacifica to thrive in business and employment. So who can access our services? So we cater to Pacific clientele. Usually the market is to be 50% Pacifica owned by New Zealand citizens and residents. People sometimes get, how do you distinguish that marker of 50%? In essence, if you're Pacific of origin, if you're Pacifica in a sense, then obviously you have access to these services, and also that's if your partner as well is Pacifica in essence. Pacific businesses, according to our registrations and systems in New Zealand by way of numbers. So you'll actually see there to your left-hand side business registrations by industry. what we've found is that 50% of the businesses that register with us are in professional services, repair and maintenance, and personal services. So do note under repair and maintenance, and that 50%, that's sort of like our trades and tradespeople as well. But we're not just limited to that. We've also got registrations or registered businesses with us that are in the healthcare and aspect, in education, in construction, in tourism, and of course construction, which Tom will be talking more about a little later. By way of operating stage, the majority of our businesses are at that startup stage, as you'll see down here, where 50%, 52% of our registered clients are at that start within their first 12 months of operating. And then, of course, by way of structure, majority of our businesses, at least half, are limited liability companies, so they are registered. You'll also see the various regions that we're in. To the right-hand side there, where the majority of our registered businesses are from Auckland, but we've also got those that are in Christchurch, other areas around the country, and of course Wellington. We have you there at 10%. This is taken from about a year ago, but we'd love to see more Wellington businesses registered with us, as we continue to progress. So how do we implement our frameworks, or how do we approach assisting our level of clientele? And we've got a couple of sort of frameworks that we do try to implement. One being sort of co-design, and this in itself is obviously meaning together and working together, one with our clientele, and two with our service providers, which I'll talk more about a little later. And the idea is for participation. The idea is for cooperation, to try and cater a package, to try and cater a service that works for our clients that that are looking to, our Pacific businesses that are looking to develop and improve, obviously through the tool that is Pacific Business Trust. We take that co-design framework, and we try and implement a Pacifica lens through the use of tools such as Talanoa, which some of you may have already heard of, and the Kakala framework. Now Talanoa in itself, meaning tala, to talk. Noa actually means in a lot of Pacific dialect, nothingness. So it's not necessarily talking about nothing, but it's this idea of open discussion. This idea of there's no sort of fixed position on the talk. It's that trust element and building that trust with our clientele. And then of course we have the Kakala framework, and it's about building, bringing those two elements of participation and cooperation and building together. If I could use a basic example, the necklace, and building that necklace, you're specific about the items that you're selecting for the program. You're specific about the items that you're selecting for the necklace, the flowers, the materials, so on and so forth, keeping in mind that this is being designed for the recipient. So it's about reciprocity. Who's getting this package? Who's getting this service? So we try and utilize that co-design, the Talanoa tool of open discussion, and the Kakala framework to try and cater a package to the services that we want to offer to our clientele, and what they'll be able to gain from us as a development agency. We then have our sort of Pacific entrepreneurial model, which is more so, as for a lot of our clientele who are Pacific based, you'll see at the top there, heart and head. Some decisions you'll make with your head, some decisions you'll make with your heart. And being a Pacific based entity, it's about bringing that aspect of community, of the village, to your businesses. And it's one of those things you can't really separate the two. Sometimes they do go hand in hand, and we try to be mindful of that and the associations that come with Pacific business owners. One, to understand the opportunities for business, but at the same time also knowing that it's about holding on to those elements of culture and that reciprocity that comes with that with shared meaning and of course a vision and a process to try and also develop economically within your respective businesses. So into the program and services and offerings that we actually have on board here. Now they're set up in sort of 4 type of portfolio offerings. Now we've got our ecosystem engagements, and long story short, that's just sort of the village aspect. That's sort of where everyone's open and welcome just to come in and join events, be it things that we've got on, networking engagements, those drop-in clinics, that aspect of things where you do not have to be registered to come along to. You might have just heard something from your mate, or you might have seen something online. You're like, oh, cool. Pacific Business Trust are holding this event. I might just go in and have a nosy and see what that's about. So there's no registration required for that. For our registered customers and clients, you do have access to workshops, which are free and fully funded. And I'll be going into the types of workshops that we offer, obviously business oriented. And Tom will also have an opportunity to talk about those workshops that are specific to the procurement sector. For our assessed customers, so obviously once you're registered with Pacific Business Trust, you'll have access to our digital platform and other enabled services. So easy example, you may need an accountant, but obviously that can be quite costly. Where Pacific Business Trust can slot in is we can sort of help with the costs of those professional services, and of course after your business goes through an assessment, you'll be speaking to a business advisor. We'll kind of sort of go through the nitty-gritty of what are the immediate needs, where's the business at, how can we help, how can we progress this business, and then of course after that happens and that engagement then happens with a service provider, we cater a package that can actually assist that business to help that business move along, which then brings us to another offering, sort of for unique services and unique instances. We have personalized offerings. So this is for those businesses that just have that, it might be that, wow, this is this entrepreneurial breakout idea, where an offering or a package can be catered to that specific idea. They might need more than just their immediate need catered to. And there might, it might be a case of like, hey, look, if this business does well and it looks like it could potentially do well, there's high return of interest. There's a high opportunity for this to help the wider Pacific community, for this help respective communities across the board. A case in point, and it's not just personal offerings that isn't just privy to a high return of financial or economic interest. We did offer a personal offering to a group who really wanted to push financial literacy in their respective community. It was a really great idea. I mean, obviously, it might not have been a massive turnaround in regards to sort of, hey, this is going to have a massive turnover. Oh, sorry, this is going to have this will make a lot of money. But it would do a lot of good for that respective community. So, it's personalized offerings, not always subject to, hey, is it going to make heaps of money? Sometimes it could be a case of it's going to do a lot of good. Okay. Moving on. So the service provider network, which I've been touching on, is more or less once you register with Pacific Business Trust, you go through a business health check / assessment to see, hey, where's your business at? Where are we? How can we help out? We then figure out those primary needs or those specific needs, and then we try put you in touch with professional services that can take your business to the next level, or that can take your idea to the next level. So you'll see quite a myriad of service providers there in the construction space, from business consultants, marketers, accountants, so on and so forth. This is being recorded, just so you know, so you can always come back and press pause and have a look-see, to our general service providers. for those needs that are quite obvious, i.e. your business consultants, your marketers, your accountants, legal services, funders, financial managers. And I do note we may be Pacific Business Trust, but that doesn't limit us to just helping businesses only. Yeah, we also help social enterprises as well, such as trusts and other associated type groups. Yeah, who also have access to business consultants, marketers, accountants, and of course legal services. Do note service provision is also available on our digital platform. So it's not you might be, hey, look, I'm all the way up in the Upper Hutt. It's pretty far to get to the Pacific Business Trust office in the city centre of Wellington. Yeah, we can operate digitally as well. Okay, and much the same, those same offerings, one being the networking and engagements that we have on offer, the workshops that we also provide for our registered customers, our service provider network, which you can gain access to after becoming registered, and of course, after being assessed by one of our business advisors, and then our catered package of the personalized offering for the our unique clients, or the unique services that we need to provide, which I mentioned earlier. Hey, cool. So in regards to those workshops, you'll actually be able to find them on our website, Pacific Business Trust. I mean, Google it, you'll find it. It'll be up at the top there. And if you just dot on down over to, hey, all events, you'll be able to see what we've got coming up. And our awesome events team are in the process of setting up a great calendar that looks really exciting for the rest of this year. Yeah, so definitely you'll be able to find that information there. The types of workshops that'll be on offer there. So we've got our general workshops that you'll see around our core functional areas in business. So your strategy and business basics and planning, accounting and tax services, marketing and sales, storytelling and pitching, and of course, your finance elements. Other types of workshops there on the social enterprise, and of course, construction, which Tom will go into in depth soon enough. Okay, and now, so hey, look, you're watching this video thinking, okay, cool, how can I take advantage of this once I've registered? So do note, with our grants for service, funding is on a case-by-case basis, from startup to established or experienced businesses. Then, of course, that development funding is then put towards services that will help improve and progress the business. And then, of course, i.e. your business planning, your mentoring, your website design, your marketing, your sales training, improving operational processes, and your cash flow management and financial planning. And all of this is there in place to try and help ease the burden of those costly services. So yeah, those are our grants for service. What ends up happening is you go through a business health check assessment. Once you're registered with us, you'll speak to a business advisor in either whether it's in the procurement space or whether it's in the your general business as usual space, where this talanoa aspect and open discussion will occur. So it's that this discussion happens so we can see where the business is at. And hey, what are some of the needs? What does your business need? And of course, then these primary needs are then formed into referrals for professional services in those core functional areas that we have there. Okay, from there, yeah, once the grant for service is approved, you'll have the opportunity to meet with a service provider, often digitally and in person, where suitable. What with COVID and whatnot, and the flu going around, do note digitally has been sort of preferred, one by clients and of course by service providers as well, just as a point to note, where obviously the package will be catered to client facing hours and of course work done behind the scenes as well, to prepare a package that i.e. well, what have you, whether it's a case of getting a website sorted for you, whether it's some social media package that your business might need, whether it's just something as simple as budgeting and forecasting, hey, for the next coming year. And then once that package is sorted, it's then offered and delivered, and right through the whole process, PBT will be there, one as an element of pastoral care advice, but also guidance as well. Cool. Some of the other offerings that we've also got on board. 2 years ago, with Creative New Zealand and the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Heritage, a partnership occurred where the idea was to promote Pacifica Festival ecosystems, that networking, these festivals, be it in the arts, be it with food festivals as well. And the idea was to sort of right across the board, right throughout New Zealand, to promote Pacifica festivals right across the board. We've currently got 20 registered festivals at the moment, but yeah, we've managed to sort of we've actually got 27 organizers that are involved. As an example, up in Auckland, and it's still going now, Pacific Business Trust, PBT, we partnered with Auckland Unlimited for, basically our one Pacifica Festival and also the Poly Night X experience. And, that's still going, what with your night markets and your flea markets, so on and so forth. And another offering that we also have in the education space is the Hatch program, revolving around youth entrepreneurship. So the idea behind this one was more or less to promote and develop entrepreneurship in the youth and the young. And I mean, it might be a case of they have this, hey, I've got this idea, or hey, I want to get into business. I've got this fire, I've got this passion. And the idea was to sort of, one, provide that support and direction, but also, positive role models, positive pathways, and an opportunity to flesh those ideas out. And obviously build those core concepts, one around business, but also at the same time to develop and to grow. And yeah, I mean, if Tom wants to share his thoughts on that a little later, maybe he will. Awesome stuff. Also awesome program to be a part of. It's offered in 2 programs at current, both at the foundation level and the VACA level, once the entrepreneurship and once the idea is in the water and it's starting to build some traction. Cool. It is noteworthy, obviously, what with considerations for COVID-19. There were a lot of issues, especially in business, especially in Pacific business, that were highlighted that, hey, these are key areas. These are where some of the primary needs are. And what came with that, was where those areas were highlighted. Case in point, technology. I mean, obviously, 2020, you didn't think that your business would effectively have to move into the online space so quickly. But that is something that here at Pacific Business Trust, we worked with other groups and in partnership with other agencies to try and hey, let's try and let's try and develop packages to try and bring our businesses up to speed, whether it's in the technology space, whether it's in the operational space, whether it's business preparation, supply, so on and so forth. But at the same time, also noting, hey, perhaps we also need to hold on to those elements of culture that we bring to the table, right across the pipeline. A couple of key partnerships that we have here at Pacific Business Trust are the Ministry of Pacific Peoples, MBIE, MSD, IRD. So we've all got Pacifica teams in those agencies that we have one communication and ties to, but at the same time, it's about, hey, how can we assist our members of the community that are involved with us? But also involved in those agencies as well, so that everyone's sort of, singing off the same song sheet, singing off the same hymn book. Cool. Some of the types of programs that we've been able to implement was Activate Tamaki Makoto as a response to COVID-19 from the end of last year up into the last couple of months. The Sole Trader pilot through NZTE, Digital Boost through DIA, and our Tamaki Regeneration Company helping and boosting our Pacifica peoples and their businesses. And other elements that we also have there in regards to the regional business partners, which are different for each region. Up here, ours is Auckland Unlimited. For those of you down in the Wellington region, it's Wellington NZ. Cool. Long story short, we've been growing. Pacific Business Trust has been growing, and that comes down to sort of the, people finding out about us, and also our clientele, our Pacifica people's understanding, hey, this is a tool that we can grow with, that we can develop from. So right across the board, registrations, business assessments, referrals, grants have all kept a steady pace, and if not, they are increasing. And with that, so too are our Pacific businesses. And how we know about this, we've actually got an independent evaluation to sort of gauge the impact that we're having, one, within our economic ecosystem, but also within our respective communities as well, and what we're doing with Pacific Business. So as a general overview of what Pacific Business is about, of the types of offerings and services that we can provide, that was just a quick bit of spiel of what we do here at Pacific Business Trust. I'll be taking some questions after this if there are any, but I'd like to hand it over to my colleague Tom to talk about Procurement Support Services.
Whawhatai lava, thank you so much, Chris. I'll just go ahead and I'll just share my screen. Here we go. All good. Thank you very much. Talofa lava. Just very, very thankful to be here to share. I think Chris gave a very thorough overview of Pacific Business Trust as a whole, through the many different programs and services, and the impact that's being made. And I'm just thankful to share on probably the newest division or unit or team within Pacific Business Trust, and that's the Pacific Business and Procurement, or the Procurement Support Services unit. So that's myself, Tom Vafusuanga. I'm the program manager, but I do have a wonderful team with me. I've got Myra, Christine, and Tracy, make up our business advisors and client service reps to really help build capability in this arena. And I probably actually want to touch on the word procurement, because it's a word that people sometimes don't really understand or know what that means, and what it means to us. And what it kind of means to us is building up capability to get people to be tender ready. So to procure is to bid for contracts that maybe government might have, or maybe bigger organizations. In terms of the construction industry, you have like your Fletchers or your Downers, and they have smaller contracts that people can bid for. So this service that we provide in that term of procurement, it is looking to help people be tender ready. But yeah, it's an interesting word that we're learning to unfold as we look at the people that we talk to. And yep, Chris touched on this. He went through it quite thoroughly in terms of the people that we work with, Pacific Business Trust. For the procurement support services, where at the moment we're quite focused on that construction industry, where that 8% is, but also in the services industry. And for now, where Chris was talking about the repairs and maintenance, the trades services. So I don't have that figure for you. I think I was talking to Chris, there could be 20 to 25%, not to be confirmed, but there is a large percentage of businesses that this division of Pacific Business Trust really wants to build their capability up, to be able to bid for tenders, to bid for different contracts that exist. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, this was born out of the government's new Border Outcomes Initiative. So they wanted to see wider social, economic, cultural, and environmental outcomes through the acquisition of goods services, and work. And so we kind of went ahead. I think in 2019, we went ahead and did a little bit of a study in this arena to look at what challenges did Pacific businesses do they come across. Chris also touched on this as well. We also found in people that were looking to try and get procurement contracts, trying to bid for tenders, they came across a few issues or challenges that they face, such as, lack of your business processes and systems, being able to source and access, a pipeline of work, and have continued work where you're able to, you might lock in maybe one contract, but how do you maintain your procurement process and keep having contracts? So that was also, a challenge that they face is having that pipeline of work, understanding the formal procurement processes. So there's a very, for example, government have very formal procurement processes in terms of, the checklists, different things that you need to kind of tick off to gain that. So it takes a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of intel, and requires some expertise and support to be able to build your procurement capability, as per se. Learning to navigate the practices and culture of the construction industry. So yeah, it's a very unique industry, the construction industry, and very volatile as well, as you've seen with COVID-19, being able to what that has done to the construction industry. So there's been that challenge of understanding the cultural barriers in that arena, and then just a limited supply chain procurement capability and experience. So these were kind of the problems that we saw as we were going through developing what kind of services can we provide to these problems or these challenges that exist. And so that was when we looked at development of the Procurement Support Service, and focusing on kind of, first of all, it is the construction industry. So and when I say who it's for, it can be for sole traders, can be for startups or businesses, established businesses, right from the ones who already have contracts to someone who's a builder and might have a few builders under him, and wanting to have that aspiration to be to build their procurement process. So that's kind of our unit. And so the construction industry, it's a key growth sector. As I mentioned, highly volatile, and there's also a complex value chain, understanding right from inception of beginning the contract, or even starting to getting your materials, liaising with different stakeholders. You got the health and safety system, which is incredibly complex, or can be, if you don't have the right support systems around you. And so our division as well, we're amongst our business advisors, we've got our service providers as well. We want to ensure we have a Pacifica approach. So we're kind of year 1.5 to 2 into this program. We've got a 4-year kind of program, thanks to the Ministry of Business and Innovation and Employment, to roll out this. And we're learning while we're doing, but we definitely have this Pacifica approach that we want to bring to the programs that we do. And it's, I think being based at Pacific Business Trust with many different Pacifica people and connections, it's quite a strength for us as we keep building that capability. But then, the outcomes that we want to see in this division, and it probably relates to a lot of the Pacific Business Trust programs, is, we want to see more of our people employed. We want to see higher incomes. If you can bid for these tender contracts, these contracts can be quite lucrative. And rather than being maybe the subcontractor, which many of Pacifica people are, where they are the subcontractor, it's learning how can you become the contractor or the person that holds on to that contract. And then growing the pipeline of compliant, ready businesses. So we really do want to build the capability where we have a lot of Pacifica businesses who have that compliance, who have their paperwork, who have their health and safety systems, and they're ready to go, whether it's a contract that's ready to go now or it's something that's about to open up in 6 months. That's kind of the tangible outcomes that we kind of see. And so, the way that we do that, we kind of have, Chris really went well into it. We follow the same model as what the other programs kind of do as well. We have our workshops, which which are for free, fully funded, and you kind of just register, and they can be online and in person. We're thankful that we are going to be having some down in Wellington, to be confirmed, I think, in the second quarter. I'll definitely get those dates out to the team or those who are interested. I'll let Verona know. Verona's our business advisor down in Wellington, and so she's definitely someone to connect to. But see, you've got these kind of workshops that are all around building capability, from tender and pricing for construction. You got your procurement readiness, health and safety. That's quite a big one that we're finding quite valuable to our clientele. Environment sustainability, subcontracting, your legal rights, risk management, and employment rights and obligations. So those are kinds of the first step. You can go through the workshops, or you can contact us. You get in touch with our business advisors, and you can come through our service providers. So we've got a few people who provide special services to build your capability, whether it's your health and safety, which is that's kind of a primary one. If you got your business as usual that Chris was talking about, we want to build your accounting and legal side of things, we can do that. You probably go through your business as usual, or you haven't talked to us business advisors, but we're really focused on really building up your capability to be tender ready, or procurement ready, whatever word suits. But so the service providers, they come alongside you, and they might work with you over a period of anywhere between 3 months to maybe a year, building your capability along the way. That's also fully funded as well. And then you got your last one, customized support, or your personalized offerings. And these ones are kind of for your top tier, well, the ones that maybe they need help with a big commercial contract. They might need help with, different environment and sustainability advisory support, health and safety and advisory support. But it's really helping you maybe to bid for a really big tender. But that's those personalized offerings that we kind of take us through. So the way we do things is those three. You got your workshops, your service provider networked, and customized support. What isn't on here actually is also partnerships. Partnerships is also a big part of what we do. I know Amotai was on here earlier. They were on this conference, and they shared about the great work that they do in terms of connecting buyers to suppliers. And now we're fortunate enough to be partnering with them in some way or so and looking at how we can build up the capability of Pasifika businesses, send them back to Amotai, and then Amotai is able to quickly, I guess, get them a contract, or, that's what success looks like in those ways. And we also have other partnerships with other entities, and some that are coming up soon. And talking to buyers, so talking to the ones that hold the tenders, whether it's government or, in this way, it was the top 21 of New Zealand's largest buyers from the construction industry. They really saw that, strong health and safety management systems was the top priority for them. They found that financial and business literacy and legal and contracting risks raised as areas Pacific businesses need support in, so building capability in that area. And they also found, the general back office functions highlighted as an area Pacific businesses need support. So just in those areas, maybe of administration, accounting, legal, human resources, just building those capabilities up. So, if there's any businesses that are out there that are listening, and you feel like, oh, yeah, that kind of suits this is the problems that we like to solve, and then we like to come around you to be able to overcome these challenges, so that you're able to bid with these buyers. And that's, I guess, the positive change, the whole mantra of what we do, and we want to see positive change in our Pasifika community. We want to see more employment. If you grow entrepreneurs, I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. If you look after a business owner, if they do well, they employ a lot more people. And if you can get yourself procurement ready, where you're able to bid for a tender, you're going to create jobs for people. Improved risk management. I think it's important people have really strong health and safety systems and better management, of risk profile along the value chain to enable sustainable growth. Higher incomes, that's another really big push for us, to see our people thriving, or Pasifika people, being paid well, and being able to bid for those larger contracts. And then also just creating that pipeline of compliant, ready businesses. If you've got a whole pipeline of Pasifika businesses who are all ready to go, it can only be good for everyone in that sense. So, it's that targeted support increases compliance, business capability, and capacity. So that's kind of the change that Pacific Business Trust, and particularly our procurement services team, wants to see. But yeah, thank you very much again. Thank you to Angela and Tile for your time. I guess we got a little bit of time for questions between me and Chris. I think we've nearly used up our 45 minutes, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, Tom and Chris. Yeah, I learned a lot listening to your guys' presentation. I especially love the Pasifika lens that you put on all the work that you do. That helps us connect more to the community. So in a way, especially with all the wraparound support that PBT provide, it's just amazing the work you guys are doing. So especially with the procurement process, it's quite often the big guys get all the contracts. So it's good that Pasifika businesses have a voice to at least contend in the arena, and provide their value as well. So everyone that was watching, make use of all the stuff that PBT are doing. What a service. We've just got a few questions as well. I'll probably start with the procurement services program, just because of it's just been mentioned. Who is the procurement services support program for?
Yeah, no, good question. I think first of all, we got I think Chris touched on it. There was one point is 50% owned by a Pasifika entity. So it's the shareholder, or the shareholdings of the company are owned by 50%, at least is owned by a Pasifika person. So that's kind of the minimum requirements, but I'd also touch on some of the intangibles, or one of the ones that aren't mentioned as we develop the program. I think we also need people who aspire to want to go through this procurement process. Sometimes you might have an entrepreneur just has a beautiful idea, and they might come through the procurement process, but it's kind of focused towards building procurement. And that's where maybe the Hatch program is great for an entrepreneurship blend. If someone's got an idea and it's or something that they're thinking about, I find if people that have an ambition, a Pasifika person that has a little bit of an ambition to scale or grow their procurement space, you can really thrive in this environment with the different pathways and support that you can get.
Yeah, that's what I was getting as well from the presentations. Definitely. I'll say, what is the commitment for this program?
Yep. So the commitment, there's always going to be time. So everything's fully funded, and that I think that's also great on that side. But then time commitment, as an entrepreneur, there's also investment into it. So it can be, there's a business assessment that you need to do that can take up to an hour and a half. Then there's working with the service provider. The service provider will be contacting you anywhere between over 3 months to 12 months, or to build your capability, your business capability up. So I find that sometimes people think that it might be just a 1 week thing. If they do the workshops, yes, it is. But to come through the service provider, fully funded, to have experts come around your business, I think that's so valuable. But again, the commitment can be, you basically got people that journey with you along your business journey.
What else with the procurement side of things? What does it fund usually?
Yep. So I think there's a good two-part question to it. So we fund capability development. And there's sometimes a lot of questions where people come and they want us to fund their trucks or their equipment or their tools. We're not so much that kind of entity. we're something that builds capability up and actually brings a team, sometimes experts around you to help develop a tender contract or build stuff. So I think it's interesting. Some of the questions are, hey, can you pay for my truck? Can you help fund my tools and stuff? But it is capability development.
Nice. And I guess just for anyone who is watching or watches the recording afterwards, is how does one go about contacting the team?
Yep. So I think Pacific Business Trust, I think you've got on our website. I've also got it up here as well. You got the bottom here. Yep, you got pacificbusiness.co.nz. Even info@pacificbusiness.co.nz. That's probably the easiest one that will get you through. I'll type that in the chat. And then, hey, you've even got my email, tom.vafusuanga@pacificbusiness.co.nz as well.
Nice. Thanks, Tom. I've got a few questions for Chris now, just for the overall picture of PBT. How would someone register with Pacific Business Trust in general? If someone doesn't have a business, are they still able to register?
Yeah, so firstly, you're able to register with us over the phone. I think Tom's, if you're free, if you could just dot that in the chat as well. There's a 0800 number that you can basically just call up and you can just register over the phone, and it takes as little as 5 minutes. You don't have to be a business owner to register. You don't have to be any type of business entity. You may just have an idea, and that's perfectly fine. You can also jump online to the same website that Tom has put up in the chat as well, and you're able to just register online as well. And some of the details are pretty straightforward, as you would most registrations: name, address, contact details, etc. Yeah, it's a pretty simple process.
Oh, nice. I like that. I think it especially helps the Pacifica community, especially because once you get, registering your business is quite a big thing in general. So I think that's quite helpful for everyone. If they just have a good idea, then if you have a good idea out there, you can sign up with Pacific Business Trust and they can lead the way for you there. Are there any hidden costs with the funding?
No, there are no hidden costs with the funding. There are no hidden costs with registering, so it's free to register. The assessments or the business health checks or the idea health check, even that in itself, all of that is free as well. The service is there to utilize, and not just that. Even if you may have questions, or whomever is listening might have questions around, oh, I've heard MSD or /WINS are doing this, or I heard IRD is doing this. Obviously, like, we've also got partnerships and ties there as well, where we can also help with that that sharing of knowledge, that sharing of information as well. So yeah, long story short, no hidden costs. Yeah, in the long run, no.
Oh, nice. I guess overall within PBT, it will be the same question that I asked Tom, but is what you fund, is it sort of similar? Is it around development? Is that like the business's overall thing that you guys fund more capability rather than, say, if someone just needed tools or a truck?
Two-part answer with that one. Yes, it is development funding. So we do not do capital funding unless, as was mentioned, in regards to that special offering. And it's this sort of standout breakout idea, or this sort of service that's going to impact and affect so many people. That's something we could look at with a personalized offering. With a sort of a unique offering in that sense. But essentially, it is mostly sort of development funding. So if you need an accountant, that's where we can step in. If you need someone to help you build a website, or your online social media presence, or your marketing presence as a whole, that's where we'll step in In procurement space, as Tom mentioned, hey, do you need professional services to help you be able to compete with the big boys and girls? That's where we can step in and alleviate that pressure.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom and Chris. Thank you guys for your time, mate. It's love the work that you guys do. And all the best for the rest of the year with the work that you're doing. I mean, it's great that this is all free. Everyone out there that's watching, this is all free. It's if you're wanting to take your business to that next level, that you're not quite sure, Pacific Business Trust will always be, as you saw in the presentation, they're there with you every step of the way. It's more wraparound support as well. You don't have to do it on your own. And with that, just thank you, Tom and Chris, for your guys' time coming on today, and also to everyone that's viewing as well. Thank you for tuning in. I'll pass that over to Angela now, just to close us off.
Awesome, thanks, Tilly.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just to reiterate what you said, there is a wonderful wraparound support with Pacific Business Trust. I think the Pacific community is very, very fortunate to have yourselves and the wealth of knowledge from Pacific Business Trust. And if I can just, talk about how we are an ecosystem of support for all of our business community. So, if you ever get stuck, don't know where to go, head over to Connected. They're there to be that conduit of connection to the likes of Pacific Business Trust. If you are looking at some of those support services, if you have an idea or if you're ready to take the next step, we can help support through Digital Boost via our learning platform. So we complement some of the offerings that wraparound support service that Pacific Business Trust are doing with an organisation. We're there to complement and enhance that as well. So please utilise our services. Thank you to our audience who have joined us this afternoon. And once again, special thanks to Tom and Chris from Pacific Business Trust for joining us this afternoon and sharing all the information that's available for our Pacifica community. We've got 2 more days of conference, so we'd love to have you join us if you do have the time. Head over to Connected's website to register for our sessions that are happening tomorrow afternoon and Thursday afternoon. We will also be distributing a full playlist of the conference towards the end of the conference, perhaps early next week, to all those who have registered, so you won't miss out on anything and you're able to come back and view at your own leisure. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. It's been wonderful to be with you this afternoon. Take care.